Hi, I keep unsuccessfully trying to raise my rank in CS. Every game I play is a festival of idiocy. Games are like a staged show where inexplicable crap that defies logic happens every second, but it's all the more interesting to watch it. The essence of the heading is that this is a challenge. My task is to take the global elite, that is, the highest rank in CSGO in less than 100 issues. In the last part, I took as much as the second star. In this one I plan not to merge it as the maximum of the program. The last part has not been released in English yet, but if you can read subtitles or know Russian, you can take a look at it. Some games were not recorded completely because this is CSGO, so I will show only a part. So a Mirage. If you choose between cards for the mentally retarded, I will always choose a Mirage. This card has one big problem, which is a plus for me personally, since this is the only card that has not been subjected to a brazen rework. There is a stable FPS left here, so cheaters from Russia with the VNIME PCs prefer this card. The chance to meet honest players on the Mirage is like the chance to meet an adequate person in real life, that is, it is always equal to zero. But I have always said and say that only playing with a dishonest opponent can harden your skill and teach you to win in unequal situations. And this is a comp that entirely consists of a fake bluff and not equal situations. Let's start with the most interesting. We are leading the score 14-9. We need to take one round and win. I demonstrate the wonders of the spread. The game is in our pocket. Next, I'll show you how to open B in solo so that all opponents are afraid. As you can see, they were very scared and ran away from the tape. Do not forget about the clamp. This is the main thing that distinguishes a good shooter from a bad one. Here I demonstrate the wonders of the clamp and destroy the enemy morally. He is ashamed that he does not know how to clamp as well as I. Okay, remember, let's move on. We won the game in the end, but with a score of 16-10. You won't surprise anyone. My old subscribers know that I am always boosted by randomness, and I give it out from the second place for my victories. That's right. You were not mistaken. The next game promises to be hotter. I spun my Glock to the maximum, as you can see, but for some reason it turned out to be not enough. In this round, I just went and supported the team, but I didn't meet any opponents. The main thing is to crush them morally from the very start of the game. They won't even show up. Sensing who is the leader here. Here's an interesting moment when the opponent starts to wobble with his ass. No need to pinch. A couple of point hits, and he's ready. His friend turned out to be prepared for the scheme, but this is not my problem anymore. We took the round anyway, but how else? Here we see a direct proof that CSGO is the main game of astronauts, and I haven't tried that yet. But the guy has already flown away. The physics in the 2004 game is amazing. Here again the servers started lagging. Volvo is pumping porn right during the game. But this can happen to anyone. Daddy is already angry here and showed his skill. The opponent is in shock. He did not expect such power from 3 stars, and I cannot do this either. When leaving the palace, you should always be as noisy as possible, showing who is the main beast here. The opponents no longer know what to do and die with a grenade in their hand. The score is only 4-7. And from my audacity, they no longer know what to do with me and are simply confused. His buddies are not nearly better. They would have run out in 10 more. That's the moral of a weak player, to always go with the team to attack when in a crowd. Such a COP. I never thought of a COP. It's impossible for normal people to get pleasure from him. Therefore, only on character one at a time and no longer like. Someone naively believes that in order to win, you need to kill all 5 opponents. But I'll tell you a secret. After making 1 kill and opening a point, the enemies will most often just run away and will not go to knockout. Therefore, do not be afraid to go out first and put a kill on the prefect like I am here. Playing for CT is my favorite part of the game, but not a lot of comfort. While I was looking for a tactical moment, my beautiful Russian internet died. So I was eaten. The main thing here is not to lose heart. 1 round is not the whole game. The enemy relaxes, which means it's time to take him in a hot force. As you can see, it's pretty simple. Well, failures also happen throwing a flush. Remember that people who are able to turn 360 degrees in a fraction of a second from the instant always play on the Mirage. Picked up Avic, but these agile cockroaches here and there, well, from the rooster to put a head through the entire map is a separate level of skill that I can no longer comprehend. I have not yet grown up to such secret strata. My destiny is to squeeze into the crowd with an MK, and not to do such strong moves. What should I do if you are 1-inch 3, and the opponent has already killed a pack? Cut it off on the way out, that's it. Remember to take the short from the start, for the CT is already half of the victory in the round. Most often, the terrorists play through the MFA, so having thrown them on Lympha, they will not be able to go out much more. Use it. And do not be afraid to be the first to take the initiative, especially for CT. Despite my unrealistic wagering, the teammates let me down as usual and we lost 16-10, but it's even good. It's not the time to relax, and every defeat makes me more serious and concentrated. And what happened in the next game is the main proof of that. I play confidently for the terrorists, and I am the first to enter the film, leading a team that will be confused and will not be able to do anything if you don't show them by example that you can go to the point. The force was very successful for me. Its success is not to die, so everything is according to plan. Failures happen, we don't dwell on them. In the next round I made my way from behind, but they were waiting for me here too. The opponents were quite strange and were waiting for me right from all points, even if I was on a shift, an incredible skill or something else. Write in the comments about your guesses. Everything is obvious to me personally. For those, I frankly did not have a game, and even despite my pirouettes and heroic jumps into the smoke, we managed to give a lot. Fortunately, I got ready equal and took matters into my own hands. The opponents have already lost heart. At the end the score is only 11-4, and they are already lost and can't find a place to hide. Oh, how I wanted the Mirage to be even bigger. I'll tell you a secret, even the deadest game can be won. I won more than 100 games with 13-2 simply because the opponent was relaxing. It must be understood that now CS is terribly unbalanced and there is such a thing as a weak side and a strong one. Here on the Mirage, CT is the dominant side, so it's not a shame to give a lot of rounds for those. Remember that you have to give your best on the pistol, and put all your strength. Often, whoever gets eco will have money and a good position to win half the game quickly. But today's pistol prevented me from taking a bad internet. We do not take it into account. Failures happen. Already in the next round, I distinguished myself and closed the entire team of Tarav. Yes, I also think that 2 people are the whole team. Questions? Do not be afraid to go into the back for a carrot scan. Often while the enemy is sorting out the moment and making a spread, you can bury him very quickly and safely, because the back is not checked even for higher ranks. I tell you, like the last legendary needles. I catch the enemy while he hesitated, and if it wasn't for the firecracker, he would have got away with it. The opponent is already completely lost, and the main thing is not to give a comeback, not to relax, but to strangle, and quickly finish the game before it turns into another circus. I was a little nervous, but a good team did the job for me. Russians, as strange as it may seem, were all Russians and adequate Russians for a Mirage. This is a miracle similar to a lunar eclipse that occurs once in 1,000 years. Thanks guys. Good job. In general, a good team can achieve everything. The main thing is to find a way to work with it. Someone will have to stir up for this, and with someone to discuss the plantings and the general spread. Everyone is looking for a common language in their own way. The next game was from the section Mom didn't want to, Dad didn't want to, understand it as you want. The 3rd star is still not merged with mine, so I can relax a little and fool around. After all, our legendary journey is just beginning. When I want to relax, I put will give 2 because the local crazy Slavic atmosphere favors this much better than any yoga and meditation. For me, Das 2 is like a piece of my soul. So the games here are no less stupid and unpredictable than somewhere else. It all started pretty well. We were filled in with CT scans, and all the passages were closed. We gave away the first rounds, but the buy turned out to be legendary. We quickly returned. They were standing in the same places, not understanding how we always catch them in the back. I walked around hard and even took clutches 1-inch 3. Pretty. The main thing is that it was this clutch that united the team and we begin to dominate hard. By the score, of course. You can't say that, but when you take even a few offensive clutches in the mentions, well, the enemy begins to have a dismoral and tilt. They begin to find out who is right and who is to blame. You should always use these moments, and hit quickly at less protected places. In my case, this is the mid and short, because there has always been a passageway that no one guarded. Another tough moment, mine threw me a flush. Under it I disassembled 2 with 1 clip, dodging bullets behind the barrel. Young players would just get scared and run away. But the long should always be opened hard. There were, of course, Some unfortunate moments, but we took 12-3 quite easily. There is one important piece of advice: do not be afraid to experiment and always go to different places. Yes, there is a chance that you will be waiting there, but at least you will always surprise the enemy and have a tactical advantage, rather than like most just walk and die in one place in a crowd with your team. The worst thing is that many people play like this even on the biggest titles. There was not much to show for CT. The enemy lost heart and stopped trying. What to say is a good game. The main thing is not to lose heart and continue no matter what. While we adjusted to the style of the enemy with the eternal fortification of A, they just got up, turned out to be a little weaker in moral terms. Although their shooting was quite tough, most likely, it was that 1-3 clutch of mine that broke their morale. But there's nothing, guys. Next time you will recoup maybe. But if you want to recoup, the main thing, don't get caught in my cache. One of my most favorite maps is again as beautiful as ever. The optimization of the mechanics was put in order, after only 5 years, and I cannot limit myself to 90 frames and constant drawdowns. All the green gamut was removed, which means our eyes will not ripple like in some swamp in the Ryazan region. The game turned out to be pretty crazy, at least because the opponents got pretty tough, and my internet was already halfway through the game, but that's okay. To go to the tape something is not how even despite my efforts, so we decided to play a long tactical game. At first, of course, there were problems. We were caught with flash drives in our hands, locked up at the base, and were not allowed to go out even to the foreign ministry, but we quickly turned the game over as soon as Avic got into my hands. Here's another tip: if there is no game with AK or Digla, do not forget about Avic. For those it is even more important than for CT, so never neglect it. He turns over even the deadest games. It was as if the opponent was always one step ahead until I put them all under the table for CT. Unfortunately, at that moment my bandicam and the internet urgently flew out, and I do not know how that game ended. But I tell you, we would have won 100% with such a pistol for CT. The bottom line was that their leader led the team to B, and accidentally blinded everyone, including himself and me. But I found 2 heads half flushed somewhere, and you can understand what happened next. This is where the second issue comes to an end. Of course it wasn't as tough as usual, but it was still quite informative and instructive. You should not postpone your dream of a high rank for later, when you can start winning everyone here and now. Therefore, subscribe to my channel and do not be afraid to develop individuality and unpredictability. These are the main features of a good shooter. The next issue will be released very soon. Good luck.